Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh, you're not getting out of this one. Nope. Nope. Nuh-uh. No. Not this time. I don't think there's any way out of this one. Pillar Chase 2 just got a massive update, and to be honest, usually I wouldn't care. See, I have had quite an interesting history with this game. I really enjoy it, however, when Forsaken came out and I just kind of started playing that, I realized that the intricacies of the interactions between Killer and Survivor were much more consistent and fun there. In Forsaken, you could learn the intricacies of each character and feel like you had an equal chance no matter who you went up against. And it really made the game more interesting and fun to play, whether you were playing Killer, which was more challenging but also more rewarding, or Survivor, which was a little more laid back, but you also had to be patient with the gameplay in order to use your abilities to counter the Killer. So what exactly has Pillar Chase 2 added that makes its gameplay more interesting for survivors? Well, it's more perks, but this time they're permanent, and instead of being just passives, they're more like abilities that you can swap out and create loadouts of 2 that you can use to roll out and increase your chances of survival in the round. It's actually pretty fun to play around with, at least so far. And while I do think some of them will be problematic, like they just straight up have Dead by Daylight's Dead Hard and Sprint Burst, which are perks everybody loves and nobody has any issues with in that game, a lot of them seem pretty interesting and difficult but rewarding to use, like Forsaken. Of course, I don't think this game should be exactly like Forsaken, but I also think there's a limit to the amount of how linear you can really be in games like this. Eventually, the gameplay is gonna get stale if it's just running away from Killer until you be Killer. Even if it's really, really fun to be Killer, people aren't gonna stick around because, well, you have to wait around so long to do it. I mean, imagine a Mario Brothers multiplayer game mode, where you could either play as Mario or the coins, but you can't queue up to play as Mario, no. You have to play as the coins, and you're just sitting around waiting for him to collect you as the coin. Every time he collects you, you get a 1% more chance to be Mario. Everybody would hate playing coin, not because you're playing coin, but because they didn't give the coin anything fun or interesting to do. Does that make sense? Essentially, at least in my opinion, in these types of games, you can't just have Killer Chase Survivor run away, hope they don't get hit too many times, try to juke. There is some variability to that, and it can be fun, but it's not really long-lasting in any sort of sense. And especially when you have progression systems that reward people for playing for longer amounts of time and sticking with the game, that doesn't really work, which is why I think this is a great step in a good direction. Survivor perks weren't the only thing they added this update, though. It's just the most notable one, in my opinion. There's also new skins, a new UI that shows you, as you'll see in some of these clips, your stamina on your crosshair, which is actually really helpful. And also, some killers got changed or buffed to kind of iron out them and try to balance them with the changes that survivors got, because survivors essentially just, got a straight buff. One big thing that is really good for Killer is that now you get to choose your maps. You get a kind of lineup that shows you 3 maps that you can play on when you get selected for Killer, and you can choose one of those 3 to be the map you play on while you're playing Killer. This works really well, especially for more map-dependent killers, like Uncle Samsonite and makes them more viable overall. Speaking of Uncle Samsonite, though, this update did come with a few bugs, which I'm not gonna lie was kind of disappointing because I wanted to play Uncle Samsonite during this to get gameplay footage of him to put in the background of this video, but it didn't really work. Basically, when you go to his domain, at least right now, and you try to get back out of it, it just, like, makes your screen black and makes it so you can't play anymore, and there's no fix to this. I know Blade said he would fix it, but I'm making a big stink about it because I'm really salty that I had to lose out on my Double Trouble match with my cousin because of this. Overall, though, with the other monsters I played, I didn't notice too many issues, so good on them for that, I guess. Just a couple of things I wanted to mention. Some maps now have last man standing effects that look really cool, like in Fazbear's Frights, if you're the last man standing, then it'll, like, be on fire, which is a reference, of course, to the ending of FNAF 3, and, my favorite one of these, is probably Gobble Run, because the stage turns, like, RGB rainbow colors, and the music in it is a reference to one of my favorite terminal montage animations, which I really liked. That's one of my favorite animators. So that was really cool. Oh, also, Baldi's schoolhouse turns red for some reason, and the forest turns brighter, I guess to signify that it's morning. Overall, I would say that this update vastly improves the health of this game, and it brought me back, really. I don't know if I'm gonna be here to stay. If they keep adding more survivor perks and keep making things more chaotic, more fun, more interesting, I probably will, but at the end of the day, Forsaken's always still an option. So, with all that said, I think Pillar Chase might be making a comeback. I've got more videos in the works, by the way. This one just took a little more time to make because it's kind of in dual development with another video that I'm making about Dead by Daylight, so that's going to be interesting. I also want to do some actual Forsaken content that's not just shorts, and that's about it. See ya.